Welcome to North and South Homestead. We're getting ready to can up all the green beans that we picked the other day. So we've got our pot of water going in our canner. We have our jars boiling and sanitizing, getting ready to go. They're already clean. On standby here, we've got the pot of water to fill the jars with once they have green beans in them. We have our clean lids and rings, our funnel, canning salt in the butter bowl, our jar lifter, and a bunch of green beans along the counter there, ready to go. So as soon as the timer goes off for the jars in the water bath canner, then I'm going to take them off the stove. I'm going to put the pot of water on the stove and get it really nice and hot, and then we'll be filling the jars with the green beans. Our jars have been boiling and sanitized for 10 minutes. Our water to fill the jars with is ready to go. Our canner is up to temperature that it needs to be, kind of matching. So now we're going to fill the jars and get them in the canner. Okay, so I've got our jars out and it's time to fill them up. We've got our canning thing. If you see dirty looking stuff on my hands, don't freak out. They have been scrubbed. It's tomato plant stain, just to let you know. Alright, so we're just going to load these jars. I'm going to leave, whoops, dropped a green bean. I'm going to leave 1-inch head space, which is basically right here. There's the top of the jar right there. We are going to add 1 teaspoon of canning salt. We are going to add very, very hot water. We're going to take something and knock all the bubbles out. Whoops. The green bean had a bad spot in it. It got missed. Get that out of there. Crack off the bad spot, put it back in. Alright, now we're going to wipe the rim. Now, because this is nothing greasy, we're not going to use vinegar, which is what I normally use, but since it's just dry beans and water and salt, water will do. Put your lid on, put your ring on, finger tight. Grab your jar lifter, grab a hold of it, put it in the canner. We're going to get all of these done and then we'll come back when the canner is full. Okay, so we have the jars of green beans in the pressure canner, and I'm going to put the lid on it. And I have already put Vaseline around the rubber seal in there so that it will have a proper seal on it. So we're going to go ahead and put that on one-handed. This should be interesting. The lid has a V arrow, and so does this, and you line those up and then you turn it and it will lock it in place. Now we have to wait for this valve to pop up, and once it pops up there should be a steady stream of steam coming out of this, and then we'll set the timer and we'll go from there. Okay, so we have a steady stream of steam coming up. Our valve is up back here, and we're going to let this vent for 10 minutes, and then we'll be right back. Our canner has been venting for 10 minutes, and now it's time to put our jiggler on it. Some people call it the weight. This is the part that it is. At our elevation, we have 10 pounds, so we have this extra 5-pound weight on it. The main part is 5 pounds, and this extra one makes it 10 pounds. So we just set that on there, and then we're going to wait for it to start gently rocking, and this needs to spin all the way around at least 3 times a minute, or the heat is not high enough. And so we will check it when we come back. Now we are doing quart-sized jars. So for quart-sized jars, once this starts jiggling, we need to time it for 25 minutes. If you were doing pints, it would be 20 minutes. Our jiggler is going around clockwise now, and it's going a little too fast. It should only be going around about at least 3 times a minute, but not that many. So we're going to turn the heat down, but we're also going to set the timer for 25 minutes. Okay, new stove. I had to move it to the other burner because it just wasn't keeping the temperature right on the other burner. But our jiggler is going around, and it needs to go around at least 3 times a minute. If it doesn't continue to go around at least 3 times a minute, you have to start your time all over again. Otherwise, you could risk the food not being good. We have the timer set for 25 minutes. Our timer went off, so I turned the burner off, and now we're waiting for the jiggler to stop and the valve back here to go down. Once that happens, all the pressure will be out of the canner, and then we can take the jiggler and the lid off. Okay, so our thing back here has went down, our jiggler has stopped, so now we can take our jiggler off safely, because that means there's no pressure left in the canner. And we're just going to let that sit for another 5 minutes. Now we have taken the jiggler off, open the lid and let it cool like that for another 5 minutes. And now I'm going to take the lid off, and always lift it from the back, because see that steam coming up? You don't want to burn your hand on that. So lift it from the back. If I can do this one-handed without getting burned. Let's see. There we go. We're just going to set this lid aside, and we're going to let those sit there for another 5 minutes, just to let the room temperature kind of mix with all of that in there. Well, it's time to get the green beans out of the canner. We've got our jar lifter here, and we are just going to carefully pull them out and set them over on the towel. And I'm going to keep doing that until we have them all out of the canner. So we just got done with our first canner full of green beans. And this is what we have left. Almost a 5-gallon bucket full that we still have to process. And that was just one roll of green beans in the garden. I've got 3 more rolls to go. Okay, there you go. Lots and lots of green beans. Okay, 7 beautiful jars of green beans. Now we're just going to cover them up, and this is where they're going to sit for about 12 hours. And then I'll check and make sure that the tops have sealed. And then we'll take the rings off of them, wipe down the jars, label them, and put them away. Alright, I hope this has helped you learn a little bit more about canning, and I hope you give it a try. It's a great thing to know how to do, and it's a lot of fun too. Okay, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button so that YouTube algorithm will share our videos with other people, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Have a great day. Bye-bye.